गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट. गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है. We're going to talk about China's strategic loss due to India's infrastructure push along the LAC. And that's important. And it's important from many points of view. Yeah. Oh, China has got this, China has got that, and everything, and our infrastructure is way behind. Let me put a proposition to you. Yeah, China's infrastructure is much better in Tibet. There's no doubt about it. Overall, in the country, it is much better. That's also fine. But that doesn't matter. When you're dealing on the LAC, what matters is what is the capability which their infrastructure gives, what is the capability my infrastructure gives at that point of time when there's a clash, and see where does it go. People miss it. People miss this. So I'm just putting the cart before the horse. I'll we'll take it forward. Okay. Uh, I started yesterday. I showed this uh, tweet from Mario Nawfal, and I felt he was quite intemperate when he said the 2020 border clash humiliated India. Right now that we are spending billions to make sure it never happens again, we don't want a humiliation now or hereafter, and we were not humiliated earlier. I think it's China which has to be worried of humiliation from here on. That's the point. Yesterday I did, this video. All of you who have not seen this video, those of you who are seeing this video and my stream for the first time, have a look at this. Just type this out in Gunner Shot and you'll get it. Because the 2020 clash, which is supposed to have humiliated us, it actually validated or reserve all to push the Chinese back, and we pushed them. It took us 4 years. It took us 4 years to push them back till we pushed them back in December last year. And they went back to where they started. Just think, you invaded the nation with the hope of settling all your affairs. At the end of the day, you go back, when I say end of the day, end of 4 years on the Himalayas, in the harshest of terrain. If you've gone back to your starting point, what has happened? Zero. Right. But then let's move ahead. I think I'm getting ahead of myself. So let me go back and why did this whole story start by Mario Nawfal? It is because of this. India is on a Himalayan building spree to prepare for a clash with China. It's misleading. First and foremost, USA is late in its information campaign. The Chinese are ahead of them on this game. The Chinese are exactly monitoring what India is doing, and the Chinese exactly know what they're up to now. They know. Grant me that intelligence. Now, this article says we are preparing for a clash with China. Are we preparing for a clash with China? Or are we preparing to avert a clash with China? Or are we preparing for take advantage of the time when we are better off on the LAC? This is a question which I leave to people to understand and talk of. I'm not going to go into the details, but I'll put forth certain arguments and some capabilities, and then we'll see. I'll leave it because everything in this business, you know, has to be like vague and ambiguous. A lot uncovered, but the vital parts will be covered still. And that's for others to take a call on. Okay. I'll go back to the time, you know, along the LAC. Like this is the, you know, G219. This is the road from Lhasa to Zinning, which comes from behind. And this is from Lhasa, it goes on to Kashgar, right? And this is, of course, the Himalayas, and the border is shown here. I've not shown the LAC. Because the LAC, to my way of looking at it, is illegal. 2020 clashes, face offs, everything happened where? In Depsang, Hot Springs, Pangong Tso, Demchok, lot around eastern Ladakh. Nakula. This was attempted, and I've analyzed this in separate thing, but we're not getting into that again. Limpiudara. The value was this thing. All this fine. But there's a fundamental thing which has happened. When China undertook this, it there were some fundamental uh, payoffs or outcomes. Call it what you want. What was that? When Galwan happened, we stopped them. And when Kailash Range happened and we pushed them back, China lost a psychological advantage over India forever. Understand this. 62, India was a defeated nation. 62, the Indian army was a defeated army. Come 65, we get into a skirmish, a fight with Pakistan. We come out trumps. 62 to 65, in 3 years, the nation changed its character completely to defeat Pakistan. Come 6 years later, 65 to 71, you create another nation. The Indian army creates another nation. But in between, something happened in Sikkim, 67. That I think psychologically was very important because we hit the Chinese where it mattered in Sikkim. And after that, that border was quiet for a long time, for 2 decades, because the Chinese lost over 300 people in that Natula operation. They tried something in 87 in Wangdung. And after that, they lost Arunachal Pradesh forever because we went to the heights there. And till date, we hold the heights. And I explained to you the Yangtze incident and all that. Then comes 2017, Doklam. We stopped them. The first time PLA was ever blocked anywhere. What a shock. Then they bided their time. They said, we will sort this out. Xi Jinping was not happy. In fact, Mr. Modi went to Wuhan, had an informal meeting summit with Mr. Xi Jinping, and explained the whole story to him. But he didn't. And then comes Article 370. So, a series of things, China comes in. When China comes in, it is at the peak. That's the time when they were coming out with new theories of war. They're talking of multi-domain operations, which will last long, not long, which will last, will be short wars. Wars will be fought in other domains, not in the battlefield. Battlefield will be very small. And, we, the Chinese are the masters of multi-domain operations. Those two colonels who wrote that book, Unrestricted Warfare, we'll carry out all those salami slicing, all those psychologically we were. And then there was a feeling in India that the Indian Army and the Air Force or the Navy can't stand up to China. And this was propagated largely by Chinese themselves and the Americans. Because the Americans wanted an enemy. They wanted an adversarial army after the disappearance of USSR to keep their own story up. They created China into something which it was not. And then China fell for it. Xi Jinping fell for it. His own hubris, and he went into Eastern Ladakh. When he was stopped there in 2020, they lost the psychological advantage. Okay. Something else also happened. What India did has revived Tibetan hopes. It's there. You go into it 2020, when that Jesio he died, the Tibetan voice came up. It was the first time the Tibetan voice was heard in the hills of Ladakh. And there was an echo from the other side. Another thing happened in 2020. Xi Jinping did a great strategic mistake by trying to invade India and settle the border at his terms. He thought he's going to do something very great. 2020, when 2020 happened, people had forgotten 62 completely. Just think, you're looking at our prime minister as CM of Gujarat. You see the kind of Chinese investments which came into Gujarat. 2014, when he became the prime minister, he called Xi Jinping to Ahmedabad. They sat on a swing, Jula. Good, you can search this out. He was all for China, increasing ties with China. He was all for the fact, that's why immediately after Doklam, immediately after abrogation of Article 370, he made that extra effort to reach out to Xi Jinping. In India, people had forgotten. Like today, Bangladeshis have forgotten what happened in 71. And they're saying, no, no, India did nothing. We also forgot 62. This generation didn't know about 62. It was only old farts like me who, would remember 62. But this generation, youngsters, 20 years, 30 years, boys, girls, they couldn't care a damn. They're in a different generation, Gen Z. But by coming into Eastern Ladakh and the engagement which lasted over 5 to 6 months, or in fact, 4 years really, everyone in India, right to the boy and girl who's even born now, knows Chinese history, recognizes China as its foe. He's revived national memory as no one else could. I'm very grateful to Xi Jinping. And he triggered something off in India. He triggered something off in India, which I'll call the national revival. You see the trajectory of India, we were growing well, mind you. But you see the trajectory of India from, say, 2000 to 2020, 2020 to 2024. I doubt if we would have been a 4.3 trillion economy, but for what Xi Jinping did that day. Okay? Our politics changed, or economy changed, or external thinking changed, or strategy changed. He made an enemy out of India. He made a civilizational enemy. When the need was to have a civilizational friend, just think of a world where India and China are on the same page. We were almost there. Mao made that strategic blunder. At that time itself, someone told him, "Why are you invading India for those that little? You could have come to some accommodation," because the whole story was around that road. And China is continuing to make that mistake because it has elevated Arunachal Pradesh as a core national interest, which it does not. Nowhere in Chinese literature you find Arunachal as a core national interest. It's come up in the past 2 years. In fact, the mention of Zangan, South Tibet, and all is not there any of their literature till about 2008, 9, 10. I'm not able to put my finger where exactly it started because that must be in Chinese. Not there. Now they've elevated it. Now they've hardened the position. So they've made an enemy of India which doesn't exist. And you make 1.4 billion people, the largest populated area on earth, as your enemy, you have a problem. You will not win against them. Okay? They'll not win against you militarily, but you lose internally. And that's what is happening. People don't understand this. Then that invasion forced us to rethink our threat from China. Because till that day, I used to keep crying in this thing. Why are you looking at Pakistan? Your main problem is China. No one took it seriously. But after 2020, we rebalanced. In fact, before that, we were out of balance. Our rebalance has made us focus on China. Forget about Pakistan. We'll handle Pakistan. It's not a big deal. We handle Pakistan in Op Sindoor without losing our balance. So you did a rebalancing. You did rebalancing in two issues. One is infrastructure, and the second is forces. But most importantly, you did rebalancing of your mind. That is detrimental to China. It put it puts a weakening PLA at a disadvantage. And I'll explain this as we go along. The next thing is by allowing India to focus on the LAC or forcing India to focus on the LAC, the PLA itself has to focus on the LAC. Earlier it was not. I've been to the LAC a number of times. I mean, over years, one could hardly see a Chinese. Especially in Ladakh, you could not see anyone from miles. You go on top of Rizangla, and the Kailash range, you don't see Chinese army, the PLA, except that stupid Moldo garrison. Now, no, they built everything. They're there. They've committed a major part of their forces, and that forces can't be taken off. So, like today, they've started this justice movement or something like that for 2025. They've gone around Taiwan. Their focus is on Taiwan. They want to invade Taiwan. They can't invade Taiwan because their forces are stuck here. If they do something happens in Taiwan which is out of their control, and if they have to pull forces from here, they risk losing all this. They put them at they pin the PLA to the LAC, and China doesn't have the capability as we think, or oh, they can manage all fronts. They can't. No system can't can. And Chinese are not human beings, superhumans. So that's the first thing. Okay, now let me get to certain interesting things, technically interesting things. This is a cross-sectional view of the Himalayas. Have a look. Okay, this is a cross-sectional view of the Himalayas. Right. From here, you go to the Shivaliks. This is the Gangetic Plains. You go up to the Shivaliks. Where do the Shivaliks run? Chandigarh, Dehradun. That line is Shivaliks, the Terai region. Okay. And then you go up to the middle Himalayas. Which is the middle Himalayas? For those of you who've gone to Srinagar and all that, those are the middle Himalayas. Pir Panjal range. These are all middle Himalayas. Okay. They're not the great Himalayas. Then you hit the great Himalayas. And then you go from the Great Himalayas, you descend down to the Ladakh range, then the Kailash range, and then of course the Tibetan Plateau. Ladakh range, Karakorams, these comes here. The Great Himalayas are the crux. Okay? Now, the Great Himalayas has the maximum snowfall. Zojila and Rotang Pass are on this. You have to cross the uh, Zojila and the Rotang Pass to get to Leh, which is between the Ladakh range and the Great Himalayas. Okay. If you go down to the Kailash, beyond the Kailash range, there's less snowfall. It is wind swept, the Tibetan Plateau. Okay. If you to the south, this is south, this is north. To the south of the Great Himalayas, there's heavy rainfall and steep slopes. So you have a region where, say, in the middle Himalayas, Shiva lakes, heavy rainfall, steep slopes. Then the Greater Himalayas has maximum rainfall, high, very high rainfall. I mean, snowfalls. The snowfall could be as good as 100, 200 feet. And then the wind-swept Tibetan Plateau, which has no rainfall, which has no snowfall. Snowfall happens, but it is swept away. Because it is swept away, the ground is bare and construction is easy. So, infrastructure construction in the Tibetan Plateau is much easier and less expensive. Whereas here, it's very difficult because with every rainy season, your roads go, you have mudslide, you have this, that, roads go off, the roads get pitted. And once you reach the Great Himalayas, the snow is so high that you don't know where the road is. Okay. On the other side, it's not so. That's the differential. You go to Eastern Himalayas, that is Sikkim, Bhutan, further Arunachal. The thing is different. The Shivaliks and all vanish. It's just that this Bangladesh, Bhutan is almost at zero level, mean sea level, and suddenly you take off in about 200 kilometers, you reach the watershed, and then the plateau. Okay, same, but this condition doesn't change. This aspect doesn't change. You go to Sikkim. You start from Siliguri in the morning, early morning. You can be on the LAC by late afternoon, and vice versa. That's it. Whereas in the Western Himalayas, from say Chandigarh, you want to reach this part of the cross the Great Himalaya. You cross the Great Himalayas easy. You cross the LAC. You go past the Ladakh range and to reach Kailash range. To reach Kailash range will take you 4 days. That's the difference. You know, everyone thinks China is at an advantage on the LAC. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. They might have I mean, in terms of infrastructure and all that. China might have better, uh, approach to the LAC because flat Tibetan terrain, harder. Once you hit the ground, it is harder. But it suffers the tyranny of distance, despite better infrastructure. You might have, but you have to hump everything. There's nothing available in Tibet. You have to hump everything from 5 to 6,000 kilometers away. Just think. And that's open terrain with devoid of grass. No, nothing. You can't hide anything there. Zero. They suffer the tyranny of distance. People don't understand. Even to maintain people out there, everything has to come 5,000 kilometers away. Just think of the price which China is paying to maintain troops on LAC. That is why I said it is a strategic loss for China to maintain so many troops on the LAC. And this loss bleeds them. These people don't like that area. They are not of that area. उनका मिट्टी नहीं है. It is not their land. They don't fight for it. It's not so for India. It is my land. Because most of us in the Indian Army have served along the LAC once, twice, thrice. We consider it our land. We consider them our people, not for China. China is an alien people there. India suffers the vagaries of monsoons and disasters, glacial outbursts, heavy monsoons. Heavy monsoons kills roads. People ask, why are roads not good enough in India? Because of monsoons. It's not only in the high altitude, even in Bangalore and Delhi and Chennai. Why do our roads go bad? Because of rain. The tropical rain kills the roads, pits the roads. Once one little pitting starts on the road, continuous passes of vehicles breaks the edge and slowly it crumbles. That's the story. That's why we have potholes. It's not because our government doesn't work. We are fighting nature. Of course, there are problems, I'm not saying, but remember this fundamental thing. But we have shorter approach. We are up there in 10, 12 hours. In 3 to 4 days, you are up there. Okay? You can stage forward very fast. And what's not given here is we have experience on the glacier to maintain. Just to think, on the Siachen Glacier, there are 2 battalions at any given time. They're just 2 battalions. Okay? And we've been maintaining those 2 battalions from 84, 40 years to maintain 2 battalions on the glacier. At any one given time, there are 6 battalions loafing around that area. One battalion is coming in, one battalion is in the training, one battalion goes up, and one battalion is coming out. That's how it is. When one battalion just gets in into training, the other battalion move is started, people have started raking. And the other battalion one goes out. So virtually the entire Indian army has been on the glacier at one point of time or the other. And maintaining people on the glacier is something which we have learned. That experience, I'm afraid no one else has. We've transferred it to the LAC seamlessly. And that is why during uh, Snow Leopard, we could mobilize people and put them up there despite poorer infrastructure at that time. Now the thing has changed. Now it's completely changed, and I'll show you. I'm taking a slow start because you have to understand the strategic loss which China has suffered and will continue to suffer. So we'll get back. What does this article say? This article says this. Not many points. He says while China has for decades built up a vast network of railways and roads along its border regions, India has done little to build the infrastructure its military would need to traverse its own mountainous border areas. The focus of this article is on Zojila, and it says border roads organization budget has grown from 810 millions this year. It is now to this year 810 million, which was in 2020 280 million, 3 times. Yes, of course we have spent more money. There's no doubt about it. And India has built over 30 helipads and upgraded and built several airstrips along its border. I agree with them. There's nothing wrong with this article, except it doesn't see the whole picture. It focuses. And like good American thing, we all read it and we get floored by it. It is half truth. It is the truth, but only half of it. And a narrative. Okay? More interesting thing is this article. Last year I picked it up in Guangzhou. The original is in Chinese. Okay. Taking stock of the infrastructure of the China India border during Modi's tenure, I found that the situation was a little whatever, whatever. I'm going to talk of the Chinese, India has infrastructure along the LAC. My source is this article. I'm not going to talk what India is doing. I'm going to say what this fellow has reported about India. That's the interesting part. They're monitoring it. I told you. China, USA is late into the story. China, for them, it's a matter of life and death. They're monitoring everything. And so let me go into this article. It says in 1999, the China Study Group proposed the India China Border Highway Plan. Certain words which is used, I've converted it because those are pure translation from Mandarin. Okay. At that time, we identified 73 strategic roads and a total of 4,643 kilometers. See, what we are spending on today, we've increased allocation. But please remember, the plan exists from 99, Kargil. That is what people don't understand. You can't just can't put money. Putting money into a guy's mouth is like, his stomach won't accept it. He can't digest it. You can put money on ground, but unless there is capability built to spend that money, you can't build, and that will not get turned into military capability. Our plan existed from 99. We didn't have funds then. And he's given a breakdown. He says of these 27 roads are in Arunachal, 19 in Uttar Pradesh, 14 in Kashmir, 7 in Himachal, and 6 in Sikkim. Clean breakdown. And he says in 2006, the CCS approved these roads to be completed by 2012. Okay? This is a fact. If you go into the history in Indian writings, this is there approximately. He's picked it up from our writing only. But he's compiled it very meticulously. He says in 2020, the government approved a new border infrastructure plan. That plan is presaged on that China study group, what it has said. Nothing new. And he makes a very valid point. He says investment into roads has increased as GDP increased. See, in 2015, our GDP was how much? 1 trillion. 2008 9, we were 1 trillion. Today, you're 4.3 trillion. So, as your GDP increase, you put more into roads. You put more into roads not only because of the army requirement, because the people, you have to, of course, uplift the people. People don't understand this fundamental thing. What are the special measures we took? This is what the Chinese report. He says coordination between departmental and for environmental clearance and land acquisition between ministries. Earlier, it used to get just stuck. All this cobwebs are cleared. State level cooperation between the government. See, cooperation at the center between ministries and cooperation between the center and the state. We come on one page. It's not only for this, we come on this for many things: industrialization, power, highways, everything. Sagarmala, then national level programs. Then he says India has reorganized and established a national highway and infrastructure development structure to enable outsourcing by BRO. Earlier, BRO used to build everything. Today, BRO outsources for building. And they take the best of guys to do the building. So you've done reform of your structure. That reform is done, money is there, you get better output, things are moving. Then BRO has established an advanced building material reserve so that you have items. You're not running around to procure. an adequate supply of building materials and related equipment, modern equipment. You have to also realize in many places, most of these places, the, you can only construct for 6 months in a year. You can't construct round the year. You have a window, and you have, in that window you have to do everything. That means you have to do superb planning. You don't plan for this year. What you have planned for this year is already there in situ. You plan for next year and the year after that in one go. So your procurement is on a 3 to 4 year basis. And mind you, this was in 2005 6 when I was there. I was doing it. I told you I had to ensure that these roads open. If suppose they closed in between and reopen, I mean, it works. We had our standard operating procedures absolutely clear where what will happen. That is why we could build up in April, May 2020 the way we did and mirror whatever China did. China had better infrastructure. They didn't have planning. They didn't understand the terrain. We knew it. Yes, in 4 years they would have understood the terrain better. But in understanding the terrain better, they're facing problems. And for the next 10 years, they will overcome them. But what about the strategic viability of their entire story? It's going down. Next, BRO leadership has been given more financial and administrative powers to directly approve larger scale project contracts and purchase more expensive equipment. Decentralization. Earlier, the DGBRO used to keep running around. Some of my classmates were there as DGBROs and my friends. But today, he's been asked, give me a report as to what you have done. So our thinking has changed. There's no doubt. It's not money alone. People think, but what I'm trying to say is this is not a new program. We already had a very well established program. We had the experience of doing this. We knew exactly how to do it. The political will was not there. Come political will in 2020, things have changed. You part of rebalancing, you pushed in more troops there. We know we have a core headquarter in Bareilly and all that, which is being raised. One core has been rebalanced from facing Pakistan to up there. We know how to maintain them. We have much more infrastructure. As per him, he says from 2014 to now, there are outstanding features of the Indian border infrastructure led by Modi government. The focus is on developing the infrastructure of the western and the eastern sections, both, not the middle section. When I say middle, the Nepal area naturally no, but the middle sector also has been given focus. But it is the eastern Himalayas and the western Himalayas which have got the focus. Almost all of the 73 highways have been completed, as per him. Just think where we are. Developing border highways, aviation, and railways are being done in a network mode, not isolated. Very important point. It is not that one road coming here, one railway coming here, one aviation. People are doing it in a network mode so that tomorrow when you land at a railway station in a place like Jammu, from there the road takes off and takes you there. If you are in an air maintenance sector or something, whether you are in an air maintenance sector or not, you are building air connectivity for both for logistics and for thing. And I'll touch upon it a little later. Important tunnels. He's mentioned it. He's mentioned it in this article. Tunnels like Zojila, Rotang, Sinchella, and Sela. All four he has mentioned. And they're happening on ground. They're keeping track. Please understand. They're not fools. Chinese are not fools. They know exactly what India is doing and they're worried about it. Why should he analyze all these roads? That Wall Street Journal article is absolutely juvenile in front of this article, this analysis by this Chinese fellow. And he's not done it now. He's done it 6 months back. He's talking of forward helipads, ALGs, and air bases. That he's spoken of Numa, Fukche, and DBO. They're worried, yeah. And I'll show you why they should be worried. They will be worried. He's making a very important point which many of us don't understand. A chap who served there will catch it. And they are going into that kind of detail, the Chinese. Bridges reinforced by concrete and steel, earthquake resistance, good for heavy equipment, guns, tanks. Earlier they were not there. They were all iron bridges, they could rust, fall, yeah, wo. No. He says all this is talks. He says earlier, this is what again, I'm deliberately not telling what I know, and I'm deliberately telling you something which, well, let me put it, I'm not telling what the truth is. Okay? The fundamentals of this whole story, I'm not saying. But I'm only saying what the Chinese are analyzing. And I go with them. I go with them. Northeast Railway Network has been established. You see, if you go to the Northeast, you know, beyond Siliguri, once upon a time, beyond Siliguri, there were two railway tracks. One was the broad gauge, one was the meter gauge. Meter gauge was always there. Even till the last time I went, it was there. But beyond Rangia, okay, north of Brahmaputra was meter gauge, south of Brahmaputra was broad gauge. That's changing. And he's saying that there's a railway network being established. The moment you do that, your ability to sustain forces in the east go up manifold. I don't know what's the rate of track conversion, what is the thing. I'm not in picture, but I'm sure we are doing it. Gauge conversion is not a big deal. I also know, like for example, South Assam uh, didn't have Manipur didn't have rail connectivity. Today, Manipur has rail connectivity up to Jiribam. From Jiribam up to Imphal, which is I'm now going on the opposite side of the LAC. It's a matter of another 5-10 years. When that day happens, you'll see Manipur problems will get resolved. Political problems of Manipur will get resolved. Okay. And then, interesting, road construction technologies from Japan and the US and Europe are coming in. Integrated innovation, including 3D road printing technology, cement based technology for road paving engineering, and construction technology for frozen land areas that stabilizes soil through bioenzymes. All this is what he says India is doing. I don't know what India is doing, but this is what the Chinese feel so. So there's a change. That change is what we need to understand. He says border infrastructure has been the focus of all stakeholders in India. And here comes the icing on the cake. He says India's opposition uses media public opinion to put pressure on the Modi government to speed up the efficiency of the border infrastructure to deal with the so called northern threat. So we say, look, India opposition is not doing its job and all. He doesn't feel so. The Chinese don't feel so. People in India with political think, oh, opposition is useless, they are point 0.5, they're all. He says, no, the opposition is putting pressure on the Modi government to ensure this thing goes through. Which means what? That our political class is doing the right thing. They're not fools. All those chaps who are sitting in the parliament are not fools. That's why I say we should never disrespect People whom we have chosen, they might be of one party or the other. They're all Indian. You might have a view about Congress, you might have a view of SP, you might have a view of TMC as being, if you are a BJP supporter, to be against India. That's a political view. But look at this from the outside of this prism of our internal thinking. This is it. Then he says the Modi government often uses its own border infrastructure to consolidate votes of the BJP in the northern border states. Fine. I have no problem with it. What are they consolidating? They're consolidating those people. If you develop area, invest into that area, you consolidate that land. You might get votes, but then that's political. It's part of the game. I couldn't care a damn. Third point he makes in this, India's border infrastructure also has a spillover effect on neighboring countries and regions. It was in Bangladesh. Bangladesh, whatever happened, well, in the past 15 years happened because of that. The Bangladeshis have screwed it themselves. It's their choice. Otherwise, we were giving them through and through rail connectivity. If your rail, if a train starts from Calcutta, goes through Dhaka, it reaches Agartala, whom does it benefit? It benefits India, there's no doubt, but it benefits Bangladesh. You then that will stop already. I think that stopped already. So if it has stopped already, then who's lost? हम तो कर लेंगे. They've lost. So now, since he's spoken of these tunnels and all, I'll spend some time on that. Look at it. There are two routes to Leh. One comes from Chandigarh, Chandimandir, goes to Manali, Darcha, Upshi. It's that Upshi Manali route. The Upshi Manali route was not available to us earlier. Okay, it was marginal, but now it's fully open, fully developed. That Rohtang Pass was opened. That's the Atal Tunnel. It's open throughout. Rohtang Pass gets one of the maximum snowfalls on the Great Himalayas. This route wouldn't open. You couldn't think of anything till such time Rohtang Pass opened. If the weather and Rohtang Pass didn't open and the weather was bad or seasonal, whatever, sometimes it opens in June, sometimes it opens in May. We don't know unpredictability. But today it is 24/7. Some problems will be there, but that's okay. We'll solve it. You have to go over Rohtang Pass to understand it. And then there's a problem a little ahead of this Dacha. There's a place called Baralachala. Baralachala is a desolate place and it's got another place of high snowfall and higher than Rohtang Pass. And you can't put a tunnel there. In fact, it's a series of passes. The road goes like this, like this, like this. There's a place called Baralachala. Then you go to Tangla, and from Tangla you go down and you climb up the Ladakh range to a place called Taglangla. I mean, I understand that and from Taglangla you drive down to Upshi. Okay, now those that's a you can't put tunnels there. So what are we doing? We are bypassing this from Darcha. There's a place called Sinchalla, which is under that's a tunnel. I'll speak of this a little later. Goes to Padam. From Padam, you go to Nimu. And you hit Leh. Nimu is on the other side of Leh, east of Leh. Oh, sorry, west of Leh. So if this gets around Baralachala and all, you have problems, you go through this. It's going to come. By 28, it's going to happen. 3 years from now. And it's going on track. Okay. So you have one highway which is now 24 by 7, 365 days a year, with certain problems in certain areas, and that's going to be offset by another feeder parallel or a supporting parallel, which is going to be 24 by 7. It's a difficult road. It's going to be a engineering marvel which is happening. It's happening. I mean, okay, it's a matter of time. Then this road from Udhampur to Srinagar, pass cross Zojila, Kargil. This was the NH1A. It's still the NH1A. This is the one which this fellow wanted to interrupt Parvez Musharraf. Now, Zojila, like Rotang, has got heavy snow. Mind you, we've taken tanks up to Zojila. Now, that tunnel is almost under construction. It's almost finishing. So, this is the western thing. So, what else there? Yeah, this is the Atal tunnel. This is the thing. It's ready. It's running, up and running. There'll be some odd closure for something. That's okay. Beautiful tunnel. Two-way, 365 days, 25 by 4 by 7. Then we'll talk of Zojila, because that Wall Street Journal article talks of Zojila. Now, Zojila has got two issues. One, there's a place called Z Gully or Z Mode. Okay, this is the roads. Srinagar, Gandarbal comes to Z Mode, then it comes to Zojila, and then Dras. Okay, Sonma. So between Kangan and Sonmarg is a Z Gully. It goes like this. It's a Z actually. We put something called a Z mode tunnel. It's opened, already opened. People didn't understand when Modi ji went and inaugurated earlier in the year. Now that Wall Street Journal doesn't talk of it. And now we are talking of this tunnel, Zojila. Okay. Zojila alignment, everything is done. By 2028, it will be completed. By March, April of 26, both ends will meet. Okay. Then this Shinkunla. What is Shinkunla? It's also called Sinchella. This is the one. This I say Sinchella because this that chap that Chinese guy calls it Sinchella. Many people call it Sinchella. It's also called Shinkunla, or it's called Shinkula, Shinchanla, all that. This is that one. Darcha, Shinkunla, Padam, Nemu. December 2025 was supposed to be the thing, but it will go up to 28 as per the latest thing. Zojila and Sinchella will open up at the same time. This is Shinkunla. This is at 16,000 feet and it's on track. And look at this. This is the Neoma airfield. He said, no, that new airfield at Neoma. This is it. Where is Neoma? This is Neoma. Just next to Kailash Range. Okay? Next to Kailash Range. What does it do? Remember, this is SSN. I showed you yesterday. This is the area south of Pangong So. So Neoma is here. Actually, if you go to Neoma, you can see the Kailash Range. But look at what happens. The chap spoke of Fukche also in that article he talks. He talks of DBO. These are there. Fukche, DBO, and so Nyoma. This is Fukche is nothing there. It's a landing ground. Very interesting. In the good old days, in the 50s and the 60s, the area outside Fukche was something called a Chandigarh ground. Natural, nothing. So AN used to come and land there. Dakotas used to land there. So people from further ahead, this goes back before 62 ops. We had posts as far as Kizil Jalga and all that. So Haji Langar, Kizil Jalga. People used to go from walk from there. You go there, you go to those places. People tell you the stories. People used to walk from there for a week. Come to this Chandigarh ground near Fukche. Once in a week, a Dakota will come and pick these chaps and take them to Chandigarh directly. We had this system then, and when it comes, it leaves people who will go back to their posts and then get items, post, letters. We have the experience of handling this from then. Let's not underestimate ourselves. That's Fukche. There's nothing in Fukche. All you have to do nothing. Just do a little leveling here and there and maintain some uh, aids for landing. That's it. You have a landing strip there, and that is very dangerous for the Chinese because if you have activated Fukche, China is in trouble in any operation because Fukche gives you offensive capability. Fukche gives you offensive capability. That's why they're worried. I told you China has suffered a strategic loss by activating this LAC in 2020. I've been to Fukche. I said, yeah, what is this Fukche just across? Then people explained to me, sir, I went, spoke to locals in Fukche. And all this I'm talking 20 years back. Yeah. Today things have changed drastically out there. You can see the Kailash range there. Okay. What's more interesting? So you have Daulat Bey Goldie, you have Neoma, you have Fukche, and you have two more airfields behind. One is Toys, and the other is Leh. Boy, you have air cover, and we'll just get to this. What does China have there? He's only got Kashgar and Hotan, which are not on the plateau, and there's no way he can build anything there. The tables have turned already. Just think, this is Neoma. Yeah, this is Neoma. Am I right? No, okay, it's not there. Yeah, this is Neoma. This is Kailash range, which I showed you the other day, and Pangong. This is Neoma actually. Neoma comes here. You can see things. Now look at it. You have airfields here. I showed you Chushul, Fukche, Tushul, uh, Neoma, Leh, and here you have Toys, and here you have DBO. Now these airfields, a network of 5 airfields, you can use against Pakistan and China. So when people say they'll come, and Pakistan has only one, Skardu, nothing else. इधर तो कुछ है ही नहीं. You can't put anything on Aksai. Look, earlier, China didn't have anything out there. They used to have occasional patrols used to come and go. We had nothing out there. A few guys used to be hanging around there. Today, people are there in numbers. Infrastructure has gone up. The DSDBO road has come up, this one. If this road has come up, all other roads have come up. I have not shown that. And airfields have come up. Everything has come up. Who's at advantage or disadvantage? You think the Chinese can take one chap out from there? Even if tomorrow disengagement takes place, they're not going to go and come back and sit in Chandigarh. China can't take one man out of here. If he can't take people out of here, forget about going to Taiwan. Let's get to the east. I'm going to take some time today, but I'll explain everything. Get to the east. Sela Tunnel. This is Sela Tunnel. What does Sela Tunnel do? It connects, gives you 24 by 7 connectivity into from the plains of Assam to Tawang. This is where the Sela tunnel is. This is the road up to Sela. I showed it during that Arunachal travelogue. This is Sela. Okay? This is Sela. In winter, it doesn't close, but it is very difficult to keep it open. Now you put a tunnel there that gives you 24 by 7 connectivity. So in the east, you have 24 by 7 connectivity. Sikkim is always connected. Sikkim, there's no tunnel required. So Sikkim, Arunachal, Maine, which is Tawang, their prize, and Western Ladakh, or rather Eastern, you call it Eastern Ladakh. Yeah, Eastern Ladakh, but the Western sector, Western Himalayas. Atal Tunnel has already opened things. Zojila and Shinkulla will come in the next 2 years. And after that, Chinese can be happy. This is that road to, yeah, this is the official thing of four core of Sela Tunnel.
So today we are at Shela Tunnel, built at an altitude of 13,000 feet, which is one of the highest bidirectional tunnels in the world. High up in the eastern Himalayas, surrounded by snow covered mountains and icy winds, lies one of India's most remarkable engineering achievements, the Sela Tunnel in Arunachal Pradesh. This tunnel isn't just a shortcut through rock, it's a lifeline connecting Tawang with the rest of the country all year round. For decades, the
You know, last year when our Prime Minister opened this, the Chinese were jumping up and down like Jack in the Box. They know what has happened. Now, if you think this is bad or good, look at this. I've always shown you this is the Tulungla axis. Okay, this is Tulungla. Reaching Tulungla is a very difficult proposition, right? This is the LAC there. This is the road from Kenzemane. I explained to you. It comes from Bhutan. I mean, from a place called Tre Le and Sonasong. Comes down, swings around Tawang, and this is of course Sela. Okay, I leave the arrow here, Sela. Right, this is the Tulungla axis. It comes from Tulungla down, comes to a place called Mago, down the Tawang River, and it joins at a place called Jung. And this is the Bumla axis over Tawang. This is Sela. Now you can cross Sela at will anywhere you want. I mean, 24 by 7. And earlier it was one road. Now it's a two-way. Beautiful two-way. I mean, when I said two-way, it's maybe more with a alternate. I'll not talk of where that alternate is. Keep finding it. This is this is Tulungla. You have to go like this, like this, like this, like this. Okay, you have to walk like this. There's a place called Lungar. From there, you turn right, and then you go up, and then you go up to Tulungla. I've been there. Yeah, this is Tulungla. That's also at about 16, 17, 6,000 meters. I think it's about 6,700 meters, if I remember right. Yeah. In, the road goes there, yeah. There's a road. Indian Army has taken a bike ride to Tulungla. I love this video because I know the thing. I walked all the way there, and it took me 7 days. So I mixed a bit of the Arunachal thing with this. Okay. Now let me, just think. I'll talk of this to end my presentation. Just think. In 2020, All this was not there. Most of it, a lot of it was not there. Neither was the Sela tunnel there, nor was the Zojila tunnel. All were being made. We would have kept making it for the next 10 years. Dire, dire, dire. China didn't have a threat. Today, China has a India threat because of this. Because you rebalance. You got troops there. You have roads up there. You have bridges there. You have airfields there. You have everything there. Who's at the advantage? They might have long missiles, yeah, who and all that, but that's it. Today, China has three or four defense lines. What will happen if India comes into Tibet by 30 kilometers? What happens for 100 kilometers? And what happens for 200 kilometers? They're thinking of reaction. I bet my bottom dollar that they could have never thought of this long back. Okay? Yeah. So what I look at the end of the thing, I look at it in a different manner. I'll lift you up out. Infrastructure, your infrastructure might lag as your infrastructure keeps going up. We are not complete. Huh? As your infrastructure goes up, as your weapon systems become better. After all, we have tested out so many weapon systems. Okay, the balance will shift towards India. If all things are equal and they don't have the experience, where is the balance? I leave that to you. China will keep getting disadvantaged militarily as you go along because whatever they have put today on the LAC can't go away, and they put a hell of a lot. They can't pull it out to Tawang or the thing. If they want to try anything here, they have to denude the Taiwan option. They have to forget about the Taiwan option because if they get entangled with us here, they're done. We've done the hard bit. Going across into Tibet will be the easier thing. For them, they have to go into the harder terrain. People don't understand terrain. I'll tell you another thing about, uh, look at the map. Look at a map of Tibet or the Chinese. They have very good infrastructure, everything there. But their infrastructure is centrally from Lhasa, they can reach the LAC for at different places. Okay. But each where they attack is away from each other. Look at it from our side. We approach the Himalayas from different places. But once you cross the Himalayan crest line, you focus into Lhasa. Take a map and have a look. 10 years back, we couldn't dream of this. With the infrastructure moving up, you can dream. That's what China should be worried about. What are the border dynamics? In 1962, Aksai Chin and other areas were occupied. We've had LAC disputes post 1962. Post 2003, they started claiming Arunachal as part of Tibet. Post 2020, they've occupied, they tried to occupy Depsang, Demchok, and all, but they've gone back. But you have created buffer zones. And we are talking of the LAC. China has shifted the goalposts from here to here. Today, because why we are talking of this, what we should be planning is for this. And this LAC infrastructure gives us the thinking for doing this. It might not happen in my generation, it will happen in your generation. Our thinking will change as we go up. Our economy improves, your Atmanirbharta improves, our people improve, our global dynamics improve. And as this is improving, please remember the Chinese population is declining. It is declining and it is irreversible. They can do anything. and they're getting into problems. 2026 is not going to be happy for them, nor will 2027 be. So there is a thing you have to understand. What Xi Jinping did, we should thank him. That's why I keep saying Xi Jinping should be in China for another 10 years. You will get Aksai Chin back. Let him be in power for 10 more years. He'll weaken China so much that we'll get Aksai Chin back. This is a prediction I'm making. I have no doubt in my mind. Right. With this, thanks a lot for all of you who have joined me today. I'll take a few questions. I'll obviously not be able to take all questions because I'm sure there are a lot of questions which are come up. It's been a bit of a long thing, but I thought I must tell you all this because there's an international narrative which portrays India as weak and lagging behind. We are not lagging behind, we are ahead of the curve. You have to understand, and this battle is going to be fought here. And China is losing this battle between the head. Yeah, please explain satellite-based missile systems. So yeah, one of these days I will, Jayant. It's not a big deal, but I'll do it. And yeah, thanks a lot, Shankar, for joining. VK Shankar for joining in as a YouTube member. If all of you have liked these videos, I would request you to, you know, press the like button, subscribe to Ghana Shot, and also join me as a member. Okay. Ashwin is talking of Justice Mission 2025. I'll talk of it tomorrow or day after. Don't worry. Okay. Uh, yeah, Tibet's flat terrain was China's asset. With our infrastructure, does it become a kill box? Well, it's a kill box. It's always been a kill box. Now it's a better kill box. As simple as that. Tibet becoming a target range for Indian missiles. Does the PLA's only viable offensive axis shift to POK? Next conflict might be bigger than Op Sindur with. See, again, you have to understand the PLA and the Chinese thinking. They'll never do this. The Chinese can't fight. That's why they're shying away from every. If they want to be a superpower, they want to do global governance, GGI, and all that nonsense which that chap Xi Jinping talks about. They have to go out and shed blood. They have to put their military out. Their military has not gone. They have to be expeditionary in nature. Their economics is expeditionary in nature, not their military. Unless their military is expeditionary in nature, they can't govern the world. And despite all what we talk, there are limits to what cooperation between Pakistan and China. And that's now broken. I mean, don't think this will happen. It's not easy. Yeah. Prasad Singh, good morning. Ladybird Haru, good morning. Good morning to Praval. Yeah. Shastri ji, good morning. We've come back. Good morning, Sri Devika. Uh, Project Kusha and its development will do. It's okay. What should Bangladesh Hindus do today evening? Chinese are training their pilot. Let them train, yeah. It's good. Hmm. Do you think Bharat needs a stronger leader in future to confront China and reclaim Tibet? I hope we have a better leader than or as good a leader as Mr. Modi after he goes. After all, he's finite. After some time he has to go. I hope we are able to throw up a leader because that has one of my problems. Is there any example of Hindu resistance? Why Hindu resistance? We should talk of Indian resistance. So Chinese troops are not battle hardened, weapons totally useless, leadership broken. Ye dragon kiss baat. I agree with you, but we have to be patient, strategic patience as we get into a position of advantage. We are already in a position of advantage. The way I look at it, many will disagree with me. The Chinese have got themselves into a position of disadvantage already. How do you maximize this? Is your challenge. We shouldn't underestimate any adversary. There, I agree with you. Don't underestimate them, but be practical about their problems. Yeah, you beam optimism in such negativity center around India. Yeah, look, you have to understand how are you growing at the way you're growing? How are you grown from $1 trillion to $4 trillion economy in 10 years? It's because you're fundamentally strong. Why are you thinking why should you have negativity at all? Has any other country grown in this manner? Yesterday I showed you a chart which says we are the fastest growing country over 10 years, faster than China grew. Remember that. We are very, I don't want to grow as fast. We should grow slower in many things. Sir, I rebooted all options but still cannot join as a member. I really don't know, Murugesan. Maybe you will have to come back with a different email or something because this is a YouTube thing. Okay. I have no control over it. In fact, I would suggest you report to this to the YouTube. I'll also report. Okay. A new Chinese cold start doctor. It will be very cold. It will not start. We had Boomla border at the time of, yeah, we had. Yeah. Kiran, good morning. Uh, should we inflict the cost of losing Tibet to get China to fall? It's a matter of time. Be patient. Yeah. Do we have one that? Yeah, we have. We need to have our own war museum for China. I'm sure people will do it in due course. They don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry. Should we look to build infrastructure? We should look to build in Nepali politics. That's more important. In which decade will India catch up with China's economy? Yeah, let it happen. What's the hurry? Why are you in competition with China? I don't understand. We should not be in competition with anyone. We should be in competition with ourselves. Why are you bothered about China? Let him do what he wants. You can't stop him from doing what he wants. He can't stop you from doing what you want. Do what you should do. You should grow. That's it. Is there a case where, I'm a better man because I'm healthier than you? Or you have your own health, I have my own health? There's no comparison, isn't it? Understand that. Do all armed forces think alike? Of course we think alike. Has any lowering of troops and hardware happened? No. Ramki, good morning. And KD Raya also, good morning. Uh, India has a larger share of Himalayas. Do we hold? Yeah, we have. We are in a tremendous thing. Okay, I'll take a few questions because a lot of them. India needs to build ये वो ठीक है. Let me take this. Okay, let me take. I'll take only a few questions. Otherwise, we'll keep sitting here the whole day. Okay, I read in Guancha that they plan to destroy the openings of Sela Tunnel and other tunnels in order to render them useless in event of conflicts. I want to forget it. Don't worry about all that. The thing about this is you see, please understand what these tunnels do, what these airfields do, and all that. And now allows you to maintain people there with ease. Definitely they will try to knock all these off during war. It's not so easy. So don't worry about it. It's not so easy. I'm sure we have defensive things. We know how to do it. It's not easy, let me tell you this. And we can also do the same thing for them. The thing comes back, you put, and he's got bigger barriers, incidentally. Okay, he's got bigger barriers. If you do what you have to do to him and he does what he wants to do with you, then you're Only those people who are residual ahead of these barriers can fight. The battle is won then, isn't it? Your daily existence, war might be fought once in 20 years, 30, 40 years. But how do you exist daily? How do you strengthen yourself daily? That is the more important thing. Yeah. As India rises, our ambition should rise too. I hope we have war game the scenario of going in. Yeah, one thing you must know: Indian Army is not foolish. Don't worry. This lecture of yours is one of the best videos I've seen. It has filled me with optimism. Yeah, I hope it is done for all of you. I hope it is done for all of you because I had to do this because there's a lot of negativity in the whole story. There's a lot of negativity in the environment. That's why I say, please give it to all your friends. Yeah, good morning. Then Pradeep Reddy, Dinesh Talwar, good morning. Right, I'll not take questions because I think I've spoken a hell of a lot. Yeah, please subscribe and like this video. Thanks for awakening us about the development. Yeah, these are all. See, the thing is, these are all there in open literature and being analyzed and spoken about and in uh, China and USA. And the way it is being projected is to demoralize us. That's why I thought I'll do all this. Understand that. That's more important to me. And I've taken their data. I have not taken my data. I have taken their data, their things, and put it on a map and shown you what we have done. So that's what they claim. And I've said if this is all is true, and it is true, actually it is much more is true. Uh, if this is true, what are the implications of this? It's not what they say, yeah? It's what we should then for. Dimag hai hamare paas. Sandeep Patil, excellent video. Yeah. Hmm. Raghu, your point on Chinese not battle hardened has a precedence in this. Yeah, I agree with you. They have problems. Thank you for inspiring confidence and trust. Yeah. Our armed forces are fantastic. Don't worry. Yeah. Is it true that Deng Xiaoping wanted to teach PLA lesson? Yes, it's a fact. Neil Reddy Ribala, thank you. Was looking forward to this topic very much. Yeah. Okay. So we've gone the whole distance. Uh, okay. Hypothetically speaking, what chances are there that India may support Arunachal People's Militia composed of Tibetans? One of these days, I think Arunachal scouts might come up, or it's coming up. It's a matter of time. That's it. We already have the Special Frontier Forces, SFF, and they took part in the Kailash Range operations. And those chaps are all Tibetans. So I think things will happen. It's a matter of evolution. And I'm saying nothing secretive. Yeah. So why do we cry for recognition and power? If they thought we are weak and it's good for us, no one likes. You see, the people should also feel good about it, what we are. Otherwise, there'll be demoralization in the people. That's the point. Anyway, uh, thanks a lot for joining in. Join in today evening. I'm getting a superb panel for discussing Bangladesh. People who have a different lot. You heard us speak. You heard many people speak. So I'm getting a different lot because Bangladesh is becoming a little more than what you can see. There are many nuances in Bangladesh which we have to start coming to grips with. That's why I'm getting a completely different set of people who are going to talk on Bangladesh. Join me in the evening. Till then, have a great day and enjoy yourself. I think tomorrow I'll touch upon Taiwan, political issues, and all now that they've started this encircling of Taiwan. I'll go into it, what they're doing, and then I will talk of it tomorrow. Till then, have a great time, enjoy yourself, and Jai Hind to all of you.